Welcome back to episode 301 of the Guy and Guns podcast. I'm your host, Troy.
And I'm your other host, Doug.
We use this podcast to talk about guns and the responsible Christian gun owners' interest. On this week's show, we'll be talking about this thing called critical race theory. You ever heard of that?
I have recently, actually.
Well, we'll see if we can figure it out here in a little bit. Maybe we can get some help from some of our listeners out there.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
we want to thank our sponsors, Farms Radio Network, for sponsoring all the shows out there, all the different shows on the platforms. If you've not checked out other shows on Farms Radio Network, check those out. Also want to thank Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products and from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearm parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. If you would, check those guys out and let them know that we sent you over there. Also want to thank Patriot Patch Company.
I was going to say, you want me to do it?
Yeah. Patriot Patch Company. Patriot Patch Company is a new sponsor of the show, along with Primary Arms. We're going to do so last week before last, something like that. And they have a ton of cool patches, stickers, and stuff that I've got all underneath my desk. It's cluttering up the space here. I've got some stuff going out to a couple of listeners that shared our show last week. So I have contacted you, got your address, and have got things packaged up, and it will be on their way tomorrow, probably. As far as I know, unless the creeks rise and the mail don't run, but they should be on their way out tomorrow. But we'll want to thank Patriot Patch Company for supporting the show. This shirt I'm wearing here, I don't know if you can see it. I'm too short. It's got the come and get it. What is it? M4 This is an old shirt. This shirt's probably 5 years old, and it's still holding up. It's got a couple of holes in it, but I still wear it all the time. So check the guys out at patriotpatch.co. All right. So this week's guiding activities, Doug, what are you up to?
Let's see. Hey, so I'm monitoring our feeds over here, and it looks like Facebook killed us.
Uh-oh.
My feed. I mean, I know I'm still up and running because I'm talking to you.
Weird.
So, looks like, I don't know. Looks like mine is frozen.
I don't know. If anybody is watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, let us know. It's like Kelly is over there. Ken McCone's over there.
Somebody's making comments. I said, looks like Doug is frozen. I'm frozen everywhere.
Yeah, you're frozen on the actual show. I hear your voice, but you're not moving.
Not seeing me?
Your video is frozen. Your voice is coming through.
Let me refresh.
Well, while he refreshes, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, that's quick. He's back already.
How about
Are
that?
you back? Yeah,
There
you're
we
back.
are.
Man.
Yay!
Your guiding gun activities. What's going on?
That's weird. Let's see. On the God side, I've been doing my Sportsman's Day devotional, hospital devotional also. On the gun side, of course, I've been doing my everyday carry. I've been doing several nets this week with the radio, playing around with that, and getting to meet some folks and talking to them and checking in on things. And hey, we got to actually put the radio to good use. I was scanning last night. You know, we had some. Am I froze again?
No, Ken McCone said, you look like you're singing I'm a Little Teapot.
Oh. Oh, when I was frozen?
Yeah, you're froze up.
I was actually reached over. I don't know what happened, but you were showing the Patriot Patch stuff, and I brought the metal plate for the gun, for the 4 gun safety rules, and when I reached over to get it, that's when I froze. So I'm a little teapot. Killing me.
I can remember you saying that when you was a kid.
Yeah.
He was a cute little kid.
I had to be, right? So let's see. Anyway, I've been doing some radio stuff, but we had some bad storms from last night that were projected to come through Georgia from Alabama and stuff that they were getting yesterday. And so actually, my wife wanted me to keep the radio next to the bed last night, so I had it turned on and was listening to Skynet, and they were coming on and giving weather reports and where it was at. So it was actually, it is. It actually paid off quite well last night. So it was cool. So,
and you can set your phone to monitor the weather channels and to turn on alarms. So if alarm goes off, it'll start beeping and tell you there's a warning in your area.
Yep.
It works like a weather radio too.
The radio worked better because I got to play with it some, so that was kind of neat. Anyway, I picked up some ammo yesterday for 55 cents a round. A bunch of my buddies were texting me like, "Man, where'd you get it?" I was like, "Academy." They're like, "Oh, our Academy down here will let you get but 2 boxes." I said, "Ours too." I said, "But I got a wife and I got a daughter and I got a son-in-law."
Get $3.
Yeah, but 2 of them I couldn't get to go up there.
Yeah. Christmas is going to look a little thin this year, girls.
I know, right? You don't want to help Daddy out? Okay, all right.
Santa Claus may not be coming to your house.
Yep. So I filled up another ammo can with what I got yesterday. So got that done. So starting me a new ammo can with the next batch that I pick up. So I'll be doing that. Let's see. My truck went in the shop this week. Went in on Monday to get fixed, and it probably is not going to be back until sometime next week. I know. They got me in a Ford Fusion. It's like, now I know what a sardine feels like in the can.
Got your stuff in there, huh?
Oh, I hate that thing. It's a nice car, but I'm just not a car person. So anyway, hopefully I get that back. Did a little fishing over the weekend. Went up and did a little crappie fishing, did some trolling, and we caught enough for a good mess of fish. And I want to put a little announcement out. Turkey season starts in Georgia this weekend. So I just want to say, everybody be careful, be safe. If it's starting in your states, everybody be careful. Nobody wears orange. Everybody's camouflaged up to the hilt. And there are jokers out there that if you're working a bird, will try to get between you and the bird and kill your turkey. So just be careful what you're shooting at. Make sure you know what you're shooting at when you pull that trigger. So hey, got a new shirt, got my call sign.
Yeah.
Cholera. Yeah, Corona was already taken.
Kaforla.
Got one of my coworkers that works with me at work, a friend of hers. She actually makes designs for t-shirts, all kinds of different things. So cool. She told me, she said, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, I need my call sign." So she did this one up. She actually did one for me for the file intent guide service. And they look real nice. Her name's Liz Sharp. She got a little company called the Tilted Pineapple. She's on Facebook, Etsy, and Instagram. Like I said, she makes custom stuff. So if you're so inclined and need something, check her out. And she did good. I like it. Looks pretty good. She made me also one for my truck. The same one I'm going to put on it when I get
shirt.
Well, the sticker, the lettering. Sorry, no, she didn't make a shirt for it.
That'd be a big old shirt.
It would. Oh, Lordy. But
I'm on the giddy side tonight. I'm drugged up and pilled up and everything from all this surgery stuff. So I'm having a good time.
Yes, you are. That's all right. So what you been up to?
I had surgery again this week. Yeah,
that's got to be fun.
Yeah, at least it's over with. And so the odd thing was last week's surgery was supposed to be the worst one, which was actually not as painful as this week's surgery was quite painful. And I told the doctor, I was teasing about crying last week, but I think I actually did cry this week. He said, "Yeah, it was a pretty rough one. He got in there and he's working around a crown and lasering up in there and digging, and I don't know what he's doing. Man, it hurt. But it's healing up pretty fast. On the backside of it, it's not as bad. I'm glad I'm done with these pain pills because I can't stand trying to think on pain pills, even uh, even regular light duty stuff. So did that, and that was Tuesday. And thank you all for who prayed for me. Appreciate that. Uh, it was hopefully now's the part where hopefully the bone starts growing back from all this treatment. And it was expensive, and it was yeah, it was really expensive. But
Hmm.
hopefully the bone starts growing back up around the teeth, which is why we went the route we went to try to save as many teeth as we could. Because apart from this type of surgery, they were going to yank out 6 or 7 teeth and make partials and put studs and hardware and drill bits and stuff in there, and I don't know, try to get stuff to hold together. So hopefully this has killed everything that was attacking my jaw bones, upper and lower, and I guess my lower is a jaw bone, the upper is what a mandible, or I forget what it's called, but the upper bone that the teeth go into. So it was a it was not fun. I don't wish it on anybody, but I survived and I shed a tear or two, but other than that, it was all right. Uh, what else did we do? Oh, Bible. I went to church Sunday. We went to church and listened to our pastor for one of his last sermons. He's going to be leaving. I think next week is his last week, or maybe it's the last Sunday of the month. I guess we got 5 Sundays. I don't know. I don't have a calendar for me, but the last Sunday of this month is his last Sunday. So we'll be missing him. I really enjoyed him as a pastor. He's as I said, I think last week, he's a really good teaching pastor, and I've enjoyed learning under his tutelage, under his instruction. So it's been a good 10 years, 11 years, 11 years, I guess, that we've been down there. And so uh, been listening to some sermons lately. A.W. Tozer on YouTube. There's all kinds of sermons that you can listen to. I mean, the original A.W. Tozer sermons from back in the 50s are on there if you are so inclined. And then let's see what else happened. I served security after the sermon for the second Sunday school class, and then after that, headed home. Went out with the thermal vision scope again, looking for coyotes, and all I found was turkeys and trees, and found deers in the fields and skunks in the hedges, and didn't find any coyotes. I think they've all moved further west of us, so I'm going to have to move over to the west side of the farm and set up on something that get out of the wind so they won't smell me.
That scope's pretty awesome, isn't it?
I love that scope so much. And then I didn't hunt, but I looked for a two-legged varmint that was running around here. We had I got a phone call from a neighbor, and he got a phone call from his neighbor, which is my neighbor too, but said that there was some weird guy walking up the road and tried to jump out in front of their car and stop them, and they were getting near our driveway, and so I might want to check it out. And so I flipped on all the lights and grabbed the thermal scope and walked out and scanned the front field out in front of our house and didn't see anything. And then I called my cousin who lives across the street, and I called her, text her, said, "Hey, there's some weird guy walking the street." She goes, "Yeah, he was just here." And she said he tried to stop them as well. They were coming home from the grocery store, and as they were taking groceries in, they started hollering at him and stuff. And so I said, "Well, I'll go see where he's at." And so I hopped in my truck and started looking, and took my big spotlight and started searching the sides of the roads and stuff. And then my other neighbor, he was out with his spotlight trying to figure out where this guy was at. Well, he apparently got past him, and I went and checked the whole farm, went around all the barns and stuff, and didn't see him anywhere. And then the other neighbor was driving, and he was down at the other end of our road, joining a different road, and he jumped out from the backyard of someone's house across the ditch into the road and tried to get in their car, and so or stop them or holler at them or something. So they took off and they called me and told me that he was down that way. So I went and started heading down that way. My neighbor calls and says, "Hey, check out my." I texted him and said, "Hey, there's some weird guy on the road." He said, "I'm not home. You go make sure he's not at my house." And so I said, "Okay." So I drove over to his house and he wasn't there. And so then I got the phone call about him jumping out the other end of the road. And so I went up and down the road over looking for this guy. And so my neighbor calls and said, "Hey, I'm almost home. I'm I'm coming in now." And so I told him, "I'll follow you over there and make sure you get in the house okay. I don't know where this guy's at now." He was last reported close to his house. And so he drives past. I pull out behind him and follow him over. And right as he's pulling in his driveway, that guy's in the road trying to flag him down. And so he stops and gets out of the car, leaving me sitting in the road. And so he proceeds to start talking to this wild guy. And we realized pretty quickly this guy is either he has a mental handicap or he has fried his brain on drugs. And I'm leaning about 99% to the last one because he was out of it. He was some kind of crazy. He had not had a haircut or a shave in at least 2 or 3 years, looks like. He was wearing sweatpants and a light jacket. And it was a pretty cool evening, and said he was thirsty and asked to buy some food or water. And so eventually he started getting agitated and stuff with my neighbor, and I told him to come over there to me, and I said, "Come over here." And he kept asking somebody to take him to the gas station. And we found out his name was Eddie Menendez. He was from New York City, Manhattan, New York City. And he was lost and didn't know where he was at. He lost in Magnolia, Kentucky. He was on his way to Georgia, or he was on his way from Georgia to go to New York. The story changed 5 times from the time I started talking to him to the time he left. But so I have him pull up his jacket and turn around and empty, show me his pockets. I'm making sure he didn't have no guns or knives or anything on him. And I said, "All right, Eddie, get in the truck. Well, I'll take you to the gas station." I said, "They're closed, but I'll take you to the gas station, or I'll take you up to the dollar store, which is open if you're wanting food and water, or I can get you some food and water." He said, "I want to go to the gas station." "Okay, we'll take you to the gas station." And so I put him in my truck, and we drove him up to the gas station. And I said, "As you see, it's closed. And would you like now to go to the dollar store? Or you want to be let out here?" He said, "Let's go to the dollar store." I said, "Okay." So I went to the dollar store, and then he starts asking me all kinds of questions and about which way to get to New York. And I was like, "On foot?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you stay on 31 and you follow it all the way to Louisville, and then you hang a right and go towards Cincinnati and keep going east." I said, "You'll find your way." And he's like, "Okay, what's 31?" I said, "That's the road you just come off of." He goes, "Oh, okay." He said, "I go that way," which was south. I said, "No, you go that way," which is north. He goes, "So I want to go that way." I said, "That way will take you to Tennessee." And he goes, "I want to go to New York." So we play this. His brain was fried. And so I said, "You got money?" I said, "No, I got money." And he was jingling change and stuff. I said, "Do you have enough money to buy some food? Do you have some place to stay?" I was trying to find out, it was going to get down in like 28 that night or something, 25 or something.
Jeez.
You got some place to stay. You got some place to go. You got friends in the area. No, I was like, "I will go that way." I was like, "Okay, go that way." I'm not stopping you from going anyway. I'm not taking you. But if
Free
you want to
country.
go, yeah, go whichever way you want to. That's fine with me. But that's going to take you to Tennessee. "Well, I want to go to Georgia." I said, "Well, then stay on this road and go south and
Go to
don't
Tennessee.
it'll take you to Georgia eventually. 31E
Eventually.
will take you to Georgia and take you all the way to Florida. If you stay on 31E, go all the way to the south." And he goes, "Okay, I'm going to go to Georgia." I was like, "Okay." And so he went to the store, and I tried to see if he needed anything. "No, I'm good." And but he was obviously lost, didn't know where he's at. Well, my daughter coming home from work, third shift. She sees this guy laying on the steps of Southwark, which was back north of where we are. Where I'd taken him. He went in the opposite direction, went back north. So I guess he wanted to go to New York.
Same dude.
Same dude. And then the other neighbor saw him walking towards Hodgenville from Southwark on his way to church. That's that morning as well. Later on in the morning. So I don't know.
He's gonna have a heck of a hike to get to New York.
Well, if you don't know which way you're going, or it's going to take you forever to get there. But I guess somebody's watching over him, because I tell you what, I don't see how he made it. But he wasn't emaciated, and he kept saying, "I got money, I got money." I said, "You sure you don't need money or need something?" "No, I just need to get some water and food. I'm thirsty and hungry." Like, okay, well, they got it right in there. I said, but I offered. Neighbor offered to go get him some water, offered to get something for him, and he just kept wanting to go to the gas station. So, but I'm glad they got neighbors that are situationally aware, that call out and tell each other, "Hey, there's something weird going on." They called the police, and the police's response, quote, "Yeah, we talked to him. He's not a threat. He's just out for a walk."
From New York.
And so they didn't send anybody out to deal with this guy. So I picked him up and took him to the dollar store. And then, as far as I know, he didn't come back to our house during the night. The cameras didn't pick up nothing. So, but you just don't know what you're going to deal with,
dude. So you're out running around with a spotlight looking for this dude. You got a nice thermal, and he couldn't hide nowhere from you with that.
No, he wouldn't have been able to hide anywhere with the thermal. Yeah, that's the first thing I scanned across the farm, and I didn't see anybody walking anywhere.
See, that's why when you're doing the covert stuff,
yep,
you got to get you a handheld FLIR, and then you can hold it up and you just scan with that too.
I got the quick release. I just flipped the quick release off, and on the scope.
That scope's still pretty good size to be swinging around in a truck looking.
Oh yeah, you can't look out the window of a truck with it anyway. You have to roll the window down.
Right.
But
not to change the subject, but have you tried roll your window down and look out the side of your truck window? And if you look at your mirror, you can see what's behind you in the thermal. It'll reflect off of a mirror, but it won't go through the windshield.
Huh? I've not tried that.
It's weird. And also try, if you got it detached, take it off and have Audrey or somebody stand there and walk across the carpet, and you can see their footprints for like.
Oh yeah, I can see Buddy's footprints when he walks across the ground. You can see his footprints as he walks. If I lose him, I look down the ground. You can see his footprints, or he'll set his butt down the ground. There'll be a little round spot where he'd set his butt down. It's warm. You can put your hand up against the car or something.
Oh yeah,
I was out. I don't know. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I'd taken the truck to town at like 9 or 10 o'clock, and I was walking back across the farm, and I pulled the scope up and looked at my truck, and the whole hood of my truck was red, still warm. It was still warm, 3 hours later, and the other vehicles were completely, the same color. You could tell they hadn't been anywhere, but you could see my truck had been somewhere because the heat coming off of the engine bay.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's pretty wild. Yeah. So that's my gun stuff pretty much, as far as I know.
You had a fun time.
It was interesting. I had a lot of other things, but a lot of ham radio stuff this week. I've checked in the net every day, of one net or another. I checked into the what net did I check in tonight? I was telling you earlier. I forgot my brain's died on me again. I didn't take my brain. D-Star, yeah, Kentucky D-Star net tonight, right before the show. A local ham guy. I was checked into the net down in Columbia, Campbellsville area, and was talking about needing to get my hotspot working or something. I got to talking to this guy, sent me a friend request that was in the same net, and then he started telling me how to fix it. And so he helped me get it up and operational I guess it was Sunday night, about 2 a.m. It's Monday morning. We got it working and talked on this reflector of his over there. Well, I don't know if it's his reflector, but a reflector he helps manage or whatever. over in Central Kentucky, and got talking on that, and so I was able to check into their D-Star net using my Yaesu radio. So that was pretty neat. And then I checked into a bunch of nets this week in Columbia and also in Glasgow, and so that's enough. The ham stuff people are going crazy. Listen to this talk about ham. Oh, that's you saying crazy. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Oh, so I'm going to set up a Facebook God and Guns ham group. So as soon as I get that up, I'll post a thing. If you want, if you're a ham radio person as a call sign, would like to join up with the God and Guns, and we'll talk more about ham stuff over that side, so we don't take up the whole show, because we can take
We
up
have
the whole show on this stuff.
we have John over on YouTube that was talking. He said, "Good evening, fellow hams," and he's
Yeah.
in for EJM.
Yes, sir. Where's it? Oh yeah. Oh, John. He's over on Instagram too, quite a bit. All right. He's got a FT3 too. I don't know if he's
Oh,
got.
nice.
Yeah. You know,
So
John.
what you carrying tonight?
I am carrying the STS Staccato. Needs a good cleaning. It's getting a little dusty. The big bull barrel, 9mm single stack, 1911. I love that little gun. It is a tack driver. Put this in, try not to shoot myself.
She's
What you
nice.
carrying tonight?
She's a shooter. I just got the dirty old Glock 19, student of the gun, night vision sights on it.
Woo-hoo.
I did carry one day this week. I was actually carrying that little Ruger LC9 with the Crimson Trace laser on it that I
Cool. Pocket
got
gun.
got my. It is a pocket gun. Works good. Also got my. I got my Spartan auto knife
Cool.
with me that I like. I put it on the stone the other day. I actually use it. I try not to cut stuff with it, but sometimes you just can't help it. It
You
just
try not to cut stuff with your knife?
well, this one. I got one I carry in my other pocket for boxes and junk like that. So I try not to mess the blade up.
This is my Ratworks auto
That is-
knife. It's a beefy dude. It's got that
it-
chain drive on the back of it. You know if you can make that out or not.
Oh, yeah, you can see it.
I was at the dental surgeon's. We were getting ready. He was getting ready to start dosing me with the medicine and painkillers and stuff. He said, "What kind of knife is that in your pocket?" I said, "Oh, it's a Ratworks knife." And he said, "Oh," he said, he started telling me the knives he had, and he said he wanted to see it. And I'm like, "Okay," I handed it to him. I thought maybe he was afraid I was going to cut him or something during the show. I said, "If you're worried about it, you can put it in my coat pocket over there." He goes, "Oh no, I just wanted to see it." He took a picture. He says, "I love knives." And he come back in there with some Microtech knives. Yeah, Microtech folder like my auto folder. Then his nurse or whatever she was shaking her head, and he said, "Yeah, I got some of those out the front knives too. What do they call it? I said, out the front
Out the
or
front.
OTFs?" He goes, "Yeah, I got some of them." And then we apparently hit it off on guns and knives.
Did you show him the staccato?
No, I actually was carrying the XDS in my pocket because
How were you?
the way you lay down on those dental beds, I thought, if he lays me all the way down and puts my head down low, that thing might have a chance of coming out. I don't know. Probably not, but I didn't want to take a chance on it. And
You never know.
so I had the staccato in my vest pocket, which I had down my feet of the chair, in my Velcro pouch pocket, but I was wearing the XDS in my pocket, so I had two guns on that day. But he saw the knife, but he didn't see the pistol in my pocket, so I thought that worked out pretty good.
That means you were concealed good.
Yeah, that means I distracted him with a knife so he didn't see the pistol.
That's it.
All right, got any jokes for us?
I do got a joke. So, a pastor's family was invited to Easter dinner at the Wilson home. Mrs. Wilson was widely known for her amazing contributions to the church potlucks. Everyone was seated around the table as the food was being served, and as usual, it was a feast for the eyes, the nose, and the palate. When the pastor's youngest son, Pete, received his plate, he started eating straight away. Pete, wait until we say grace, insisted his embarrassed father. I don't have to, the 5-year-old replied. Well, of course you do, Pete, his mother insisted. We always say prayer before eating at the house. He said, that's at our house, but this is Mrs. Wilson's house, and she knows how to cook.
You heard about Paul, he can eat poison and stuff as long as it's been blessed, right?
Right? That's it.
That's a pretty good one. I like that one. We'll put that up on my top 10 favorite jokes.
Top tens.
Top 10s. All
and
right.
you hadn't heard it before.
I have not heard that before. I don't think. Either I'm getting as old as you or.
You're right there, buddy.
All right. Bible verses this week going to be coming to us from Acts 10. There we go. Verses 34 down to 37. So Peter opened his mouth and said, truly I understand that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him. As for the word that is sent to Israel, preaching good news of peace through Jesus Christ, he is Lord of all. You yourselves know what happened throughout all of Judea, beginning in Galilee, and after the baptism that John proclaimed. And so the verses tonight are talking about that God does not choose one nation over the other, except for in the fact that the nation Israel was God's chosen people because of the covenant relationship that God had with Abraham. And so because of Abraham's faith, he was saved. And because of Abraham's faith, God made a covenant with Abraham's descendants, being known as the Israelis or the descendants of Abraham, however you want to say it, the Jewish people. So they had a covenant, but that covenant ended at Jesus's coming, because they were under the old covenant. The new covenant is through Jesus, and under the new covenant, it was just like the old covenant, that by faith we are saved, not by our works. It is by faith we're saved, not because of our skin color, not because of our race, not because of who our mama and daddy was. It's all because of our personal faith in Jesus Christ as our Savior. It's because of that faith that we have a hope. It's not because of any kind of lineage, genealogy, or any of that stuff. And so that was a big declaration to make, being as Paul was, of course, Jewish, and he was the what was it? I forget the way he said it, but he was a chief among Jews, wherever he would filled every quota and done everything perfect all of his life. Well, that meant nothing. It means nothing to God. What we achieve by our own effort is not what God is looking for. What God recognizes, he recognizes Jesus' sacrifice as being the only acceptable thing that gets us saved. It causes us to be able to have a relationship with Christ. And so that's my encouragement to you tonight from Acts 10, that there's no reason that anyone from any nation or any place or any tribe or any other people cannot be saved, because it is the faith that we have in what Christ has done, what Jesus has done, that saves us, not in anything that we are able to do or who our parents were or who we can look back to and say that they were an important person or whatever. That means nothing to God. What it means to him is that you accept his son as being the only acceptable way to heaven, the only way to have a relationship with him. And so I'm closing all this stuff out because it is blinding me over here. Okay. It is so bright. I don't know why it's so bright. It's probably that medicine they got me on. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about critical race theory. And Doug's going to explain to us what critical race theory is in 30 words or less. So, it's the buzzword of today. There's a lot of stuff going on. We've heard different senators and stuff talk about we're not going to have critical race theory. DeSantis down in Florida stated that they're not going to teach that in the schools. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you talk about critical race theory, what does that mean? Well, to pull it down to its most simplest refined thing is that everyone is a racist, and you don't maybe even think you're a racist. You may not think that you're anything, but because you're racist and all your ancestors are racist, and because this country was founded by racist people, we have to change that. And the way that we have to change that is to make atonement for our racism. And the way we atone that is that we have to accept that everything that the country was founded upon was based in a racist theology. And so we need to do away with our system of government and go to a more progressive form of government that's more inclusive and is looking out for the greater good of all these affected peoples that have been mistreated. Now, I am not saying that racism does not has not existed in this country. I'm not saying that racism doesn't still exist in this country. I'm not saying that race has affected people individually and has hurt people. I know when I was a kid, I did things that would be considered racist now, but that was the time and the culture which we were in, and I'm not saying I was there's excuse for that. I'm saying that that was the things the way we were raised at the time, and we couldn't change it. And some things that were taught to me by people were wrong, and things that in the way people talk to each other was wrong, and the way I mean even the television shows of the era, when looking back from 2021 back to those times was wrong. But it's not because that we hated those people or hated each other. Or I mean, a lot of my best friends are of all nationalities. We've always had people from all different countries and different ethnic groups and around our family. It's just been not a thing. I don't, when you're a believer, as we saw Paul here saying in Acts 10, all people are welcomed by God. He doesn't discriminate. So as believers, we have to accept that all people who believe in Christ are our brothers and sisters, and there's no argument about that at all. Now, people get wrapped up into ideology, and their ideology is that they are of a certain ethnic group or they're of a certain heritage of there's these people, my own family members, are wrapped up so much in genealogy about what countries their ancestors are from. What's that got to do with you? I mean, the timeline for you started when you was born, right? You can't claim anything from the previous generations that came before you. By the same token, you can't be blamed by what some horrible ancestor in your past that you don't want to put down on your genealogy report did. All right. So has nothing to do with you. So don't attach yourself to that. In the same token, our government is not a racist government. Our government, as we talked about last week, is that a government that was established based upon on biblical principle. For the Bible verse that has escaped my mind right now, but back in the Old Testament, that God is our judge, God is our a lawgiver, and God is our executive branch, our president, or our leader, right? And so the triune God is also the triune form of government by which we established our judicial branch, our legislative branch, and our executive branch. And so those all have equal but separate powers, right? In that way, we are looking out for the rights of everyone. And so when you start trying to use race uh, and saying that you have the more power now that you've acknowledged that racist things happen in history, then you now have the power to go back and change things the way you want to. It's not how it works. Because America is not a democracy, as you've heard me say and Doug say bazillions of times. America is founded as a republic.
Hmm.
Republic means that we are given certain God given rights granted to us by God, not by man, not by government, not by any politician. And so those God given rights are uh, given to us, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as declared in the Declaration of Independence. And anything that affects those things uh, are not uh, applicable. And so that's why we have the 10th Amendment that nullifies any kind of laws that are repugnant to the Republic, repugnant to we the people, are null and void because we have a covenant relationship as a government. Our government as a republic has a covenant relationship, and it stated that in the Declaration of Independence. It stated that in the Constitution through the 10th Amendment, that whenever the government becomes oppressive to the people have the right to throw off that government, to ignore that government, to ignore the edicts of that government, because they are outside their authority, they're outside their bounds they agreed to be within. The Constitution does not limit the people. The Constitution limits the government. The government has certain powers granted to it by the people and to the states. And so whatever is not granted to the government, the federal government, is withheld by the states, and whatever is not withheld by the states is held by the people. And so the critical race theory is just another attempt by communist types who want to try to overthrow our system of government, which protects us from the government, and put the government in the charge of all of us, as they think it's going to lead to pure democracy, which allows them to vote for themselves money. That's not what happens. As soon as you have a democracy, a pure democracy, it flips right into communism, because there will be some people at the top that are going to take over, and then you're going to
Yep.
be told what to do, and you're not going to be a pure democracy. When you go pure democracy, that's where everybody votes who gets eaten first, right? And so they start turning on each other and so you have to have a strong leader come in, and that's where you have a strong man like Hitler come in and take over when the society falls, or you have communists, which is what we got going on here. Communists coming in and trying to undermine everything that built this country. And so you see this critical race theory attacking the church. You see this critical race theory attacking the family unit, because when you take out the family unit and the church, America turns into a cesspool. If you don't have any family to help raise kids, you don't have any kind of support of the church to be able to teach what the Bible says, to teach people what God says about things, then they devolve into the lowest form of human existence, which is what the leader of communism, Marx, was all about. He was all about uh, uh, you know, people becoming most like animals, because he was a full-on atheist. He was a full-on Satan worshiper. You was going to say something, Doug?
No.
Okay.
I,
So this critical race theory is being pushed by, of course, the left, of course, the communists that try to call themselves Democrats, but they're really just communists, by these colleges and universities, which are always wanting to go to destroy the family unit, destroy the family, and destroy the church, and impose what they think is right upon everyone else. The whole idea of the Constitution, the whole idea of the Declaration of Independence, the whole idea of our form of government was that each person, no matter how small they are, would be able to retain their rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that the government would not oppress that. But these people want to be able to force you to do what they want you to do. That is a 180-degree opposition to what our government was established upon. That is 180 degrees out of phase with what the Bible says is how we should deal with one another. And so you don't go and steal your neighbor's property, right? But through the government, if you can tax that person and take their wealth and give it to someone else, that's stealing someone else's property. You can say, "Oh, that's charity." No, charity belongs to the church. It does not belong to government. There's no place for it in government. So you see these groups coming up with all these implementations of different types of laws and types of teaching theories, all in the effort to destroy your freedoms and take your freedoms away. And they do it saying that they're doing it for the good of those who've been suffering for so long. Well, everyone has the same opportunity. And I agree, some people get more opportunities. There's there's a lot of kids out there that are hedge fund babies that, their parents have given them, millions of dollars before they ever, left the high school, and they have money, and all they do is go around and ski in mountainous areas and sail boats in the ocean and never have to work a day of their lives. There are those people. They're very few. There are those people out there. But everyone has the opportunity to an education in this country. And everyone has the opportunity to work hard and to save their money and to put their money away for things that they want. And so there's no way of ever making anyone equal. Never. You can't make everyone equal. Not everyone has the same abilities. Not everyone has the same skills. Not everyone has the same drive. I mean, some people will, want to get rich. They'll go out and they'll destroy every relationship in their life just to keep trying to get money. And some people will, all they care about is family. And they may not make a lot of money, but their value, their wealth is in their family or in their church or in their whatever it is that God has gifted them with that makes them happy. And I'll mute myself. I'm not careful. Whatever it is that God's gifted you with, that you do that to your fullest, right? God didn't say everybody's going to be blessed. In fact, He said God says that He's going to reward who He wants to reward. He's going to punish who He wants to punish. And it's not up to us to be upset about it. We're supposed to take what we get and like it. And if you don't have what you want, you have to be willing, like Doug has struggled and worked for it and saved for things. And we went long, hard times of not much to go on and eating lots of rice and lots of cheap, meals that we can make for the kids and stuff like that because times were hard. Everyone has times where they have to go through difficulties. That's what makes your character. If we were all equal, then we would all have nothing to be able to talk about, brag about. If all of our experiences were the same, then we would not be individuals that we are. We would not have the life experiences that we have. So people who get hung up on that, there was racism. I can't help that I was born the color I was. Doug can't help the color he was born. Nobody can help how they were born. They were born into the family they were born into. So to try to blame somebody because of their race is not anything. The thing that if you look at Martin Luther King's statement is that he doesn't judge people by the color of their skin. He judges them by the conduct, by what kind of person they are, by how they treat each other. That's how we should be judged, and that's the way the Bible says we should judge people based upon how they are, what kind of person they are, and God doesn't even judge. He judges them based upon what you think, how you believe, and if you believe in His Son Jesus Christ. He doesn't care what color your skin is. He doesn't care where you came from. He don't care what experience. What he cares about is, do you believe in His Son and have faith in His Son? Apart from that, all this other stuff is wasted time and effort, and it's just a distraction to try to get you to hate one another. The devil wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And the people, his children, are the ones who want to separate us based upon anything they can divide us by.
Yep.
Ford drivers hating on Dodge drivers, or Dodge drivers hating on Chevy drivers, right? UK fans hating them Louisville players, right? Anything that the devil can use to drive a wedge between you to cause you to hate and want to hurt one another, right? It's all around us. The left versus the right, the Democrats, the Republicans. What we have to focus on is what it is that unites us. And then as believers, it unites us as Christ. And so we have to focus on that. All them other things about color of skin, about where they came from, whether they're crackers or whether they're honkies or whether they're Yankees or whether they're what are the Southern people more than crackers, I don't forget. But hicks and hillbillies and rednecks and all that stuff. All those badges are to try to separate you. Right? As believers, as believers, we don't care about any of that stuff. We look at the content of the character. We look at if are they following Christ? Are they growing as a Christian? Are they spending time in the Word? Right? If they aren't, are we sharing the gospel with them? Right? And so my first indication on I guess it was Tuesday night when we met Eddie for the first time, or maybe the only time. My first indication was to get this joker out of our neighborhood. Right? My neighbor's first indication was, is he saved? And unfortunately, this guy was so far gone. My neighbor asked him, "Are you saved? And you know Jesus?" He goes, "Yeah, I know Jesus." But he's from New York City, and he probably knows like 35 Jesuses. So, you know, we didn't know. He don't know. I don't think the man was coherent to know where he was at, and maybe maybe he was, maybe he knows Jesus. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't been lost. I don't know. But what I know is that we offered, we shared. He was trying to share the gospel with him. I know that we offered to give him food and drink, and he didn't want that. He wanted to be taken to the store, and so we offered to buy him food and drink at the store, and he said he didn't want that. So, as far as I'm concerned, we fulfilled the what God says. You don't know who you are going to. You don't know who you might be serving angels unaware when someone asks for a drink of water. Jesus said, "I asked for a drink of water, and you didn't give it to me." Yep. Jesus said, "I asked for something to eat, you didn't give it to me. You didn't clothe me," or things like that. And so, it is our responsibility as believers to try to provide for the needs of those who are lost, or those who are hurting, those who are suffering, the widows and the unfortunate. We're to do that. And so by that measure, we try to fulfill that. But as believers, we have to be always aware that we're not being pushed into a position where we allow racism to grow in us. And I can find that, a lot of these videos that pop up on the social media feeds there's all these films of during all the riots back in the summer, all these things that pop up where Black Lives Matter are beating up white people, old white people, and firebombing and stuff and like that. And so it got you mad, right? Why are they doing that? Why are they hurting people? Why are they doing all this stuff? But we have to look back and see that actually by that social media, they were trying to push you to inflame and make it worse, right? Mm-hmm. They're trying to get you to get angry and say things that are hurtful. They're wanting us to go into a civil war. That is the desire of the devil and the desire of the left. Because if they can have a civil war, then they can, suspend habeas corpus. They can bring in the jackbooted thugs, right, to come in and take away our guns. They're wanting a situation by which they have the right to come in. They tried to use January 6th, of all things, in Washington, D.C. to say that all the people on the right can't be trusted. We're all radicals. I had heard this week that some people that who are connected to me, I'll put it that way, it said that I am so radical. That they don't know how I am so radical. And I'm like, radical? A Christian conservative person is a radical who believes in the Constitution, the rule of law? That's radical? No, that's the opposite of radical. That is, what's known as the patriot of the country.
Well, I can beat that one for you.
Huh?
I said I can beat that one for you. You're just radical. I'm a domestic terrorist because I spent 20 years in the military. I took an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath never expires. I did 20 years serving my country.
Right.
And now, because I still hold the same oath that I took then for those 20 years, now I'm a domestic terrorist, according to everybody else, because I have a belief in the Constitution and I'm a Christian. Right. And that makes me twice as bad. So it's ridiculous. And we, you were talking a minute ago, and I was going to throw this in. People don't know where you come from, and your life situation is up to you to change it. It ain't up to nobody else.
Yep.
Biden and them are throwing out these $1,400 stimulus checks and $1,400 for every kid you got and trying to buy off. And it's really, they're giving you a tiny portion of what they're taking from you every week when you get paid. And they gave you just a tiny little bit back to make you feel good about it, that you thought you got something. And they're giving the rest of it to every other Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world that could care less about what we are, what we do as a country. And I talk to people all the time. I grew up in the country. My daddy built cabinets for a living and didn't make a lot of money. My mom was a church secretary, and she worked 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. And she didn't make no money. And money does not make you blessed. Your family makes you blessed. And I've been blessed all my life. Me and my wife were talking about it the other day, me and Winnie. And we were thinking back, for anybody that's new to the show that does not know, I have a son and I have triplet 26-year-old daughters. And we were talking the other day that I don't know how I made it on a military salary,
especially back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, back then. But I tell you, one way I made it is because I worked my tail off. I worked my regular job, and I had 2 or 3 part-time jobs, and I was not afraid to go work and make money. And unfortunately, today's culture, people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to invest in their own future. They're waiting for a handout, or they want somebody to do it for them, or they want somebody to give them something for free. They're waiting for somebody to do something for them. Man, your life is on you. Mm-hmm. If you want to change your situation and change your life, it's up to you. I tried college. My mom and dad couldn't afford it. And college was not for me. And I was milking cows twice a day, every day, 7 days a week for a living and not making much money at it. And I'm like, there has got to be something better.
Yeah.
And I changed my situation. I went in the military. I got schooling. I got some education, and I built that up. I don't have a college degree, but the things that I have, I've worked for all my life. And until people in this country are willing to do the exact same thing, their situation is not going to change for them. They're going to be stuck in the same rut forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you believe that you're oppressed, then you're oppressed. It's whatever you believe is going on. And that's what they're teaching in these schools. That's critical race theory, that they don't have an opportunity to succeed. And it's all because of racism and white people. Like, no, you're being taught wrong things. If you get the wrong thing in, amen, Paula, you're right there. We did have a good church family. It's whatever you choose to believe. So like the old programming code thing, garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
You put that stuff in your brain, you're going to get that kind of results out of your life. And so it's important that we know that that we need to put the scriptures in and plug those in. When we put in scriptures, then we start seeing the world through a biblical worldview. If we put in critical race theory as instructions to our children, we're going to have a nation of screwed up people believing that they are, if they're white, they're going to believe that they're the cause of all the problems and they have to sit down and shut up and take it. And you're going to have a whole lot of people mad thinking that, that people before them have been oppressing their families and that's why they don't have what they want. That is communism. That is the tool of communism, to divide and destroy people. And as old Abe said, divide we stand, divide we fall. It goes back further than that. The Greeks, I forget which Greek philosopher also said the same thing. That in the Kentucky motto, united we stand, divided we fall. The devil is wanting to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants to do that by turning us against one another. We cannot be taken over as a country from the outside, but we can be taken over from the inside, and that's what the Communist Party has been working on. That's what they've been pushing for. It's the same thing that happened in Germany in the 1930s, and so they created an enemy in being the communist. The communist was the enemy of the socialist. Socialist Worker Party is the party of Nazis, right? And so they actually attacked their own buildings and stuff in order to create a false flag narrative that somehow that the communists did it so they could start attacking the communists. Well, they're all the same. They're all the same bunch, right? it's the same kind of thing going on here in January 6th. We know that it was Antifas that were attacking the Capitol. We have pictures of the people who are attacking the Capitol. They were Antifa people. They've been arrested and identified as Antifa people. You don't hear it on the news, on the mainstream news, because but this all this stuff that you're seeing, this critical race theory, all these things that they're promoting and pushing, is to divide us, to conquer us. And if you recognize that, don't fall into the trap. They want you to get mad and angry and start saying things hateful and creating more and more wreck to get a race war started. They tried to do it in the 60s with the Watts riots and all that stuff. And there was legitimate there were some legitimate racist things going on in the South, but they were all but Democrats. The KKK, all that stuff was Democrats. It was not Republicans doing it. The Republicans are the ones that were walking with the people from Selma and all that stuff. It wasn't Democrats. So they're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to change the party size. They're always trying to destroy the culture of America so that they can destroy America. And you just need to know that.
Look at this. If you think that these colleges are not trying to divide this country,
right?
Well, you're wrong. Just a fact. Columbia University did their graduations this year, just a few days ago, and they're dividing their graduation classes up. They're doing multiple graduations based on race.
It's called segregation.
It is. They're doing it based on race, and they're doing it based on color, and they're doing it based on your sexual orientation. You know, if that ain't wrong and nobody sees that, I don't get it. You know, when I was in the military, man, I served with white guys, black guys, Hispanic guys, Asian guys, you name it. We didn't look at color. We didn't look at race. We didn't look at nothing. You were my brother, and you were standing there with a gun just like I was to defend this country, and we had each other's back. And until this country gets back to doing that, this nonsense is going to continue going on like they're doing at Columbia.
Pre-Obama, it was very close to being that way. I think we were closest as we've been ever right before Obama ran for office. Mm-hmm. And he was going to be the great uniter, the first African-American president. Well, he was half African-American, if we'll be technical about it. But the first African-American president, and that was going to heal the wounds. Well, it didn't do anything at all. He inflamed every time he had an opportunity. He pushed racism. He pushed that fight with that security guard or whatever at that college and stuff. And he promoted all these things to try to divide the country and agitate the people and get people upset and try to use that. So we have to always be on guard. I'm not saying that I've not done anything racist in my life, but I didn't intentionally do it to my knowledge. But, somebody's perception of what I do might be 180 degrees from what I see it. I mean, I found out being married that what I thought I said wasn't what she heard. You experienced that, Doug? Right. Oh, yeah. I've said things before. I'm like, that's not even what I was saying. And she's like, no, yeah, that's what you said. I'm like, no, it's not what I said. So, we see the world through the prism about what we have in our heads. If we are hung up on certain things, certain words, certain experiences in our past that the other person doesn't know about, you can trigger somebody and cause them to have a meltdown, and you don't know why. I've had that happen to me throughout my life with different people on different things. That I said something that just was a wrong word that had a connotation in their brain. I didn't know. And so, but the same thing happens is if your worldview is that critical race theory, that everyone's racist, then every time you hear someone speak, you're looking for the racist thing they say, which may not have anything to do. It might not have been any intent, the word or the phrase or the way it was put together, but your prism is they're racist. And so you're always going to be angry. Every time you hear a black person speak, or every time you hear a white person speak, or every time you hear an Asian person, whatever it is, every time you hear that in your worldview is that of critical race theory, or that of I'm a socialist, or I'm a whatever identity. If your world identity is based upon your sin, and you know what I'm talking about, or based upon your family history or your family lineage or your whatever church you went to, even that, instead of being based upon a biblical worldview, what the Bible says or what God has us would have us to believe about ourselves and others, then you're always going to be at war. You're always going to be divided. You're always going to be not trusting of others. But if our worldview is focused on what the scriptures say and what God wants us to believe and know, then we have a total different perspective. We're not self-seeking. We're seeking to serve others through serve God through other people. We're seeking to seek and save the lost. We're seeking to spread the gospel message. We're seeking to protect the innocent, defend life. That is our worldview. And so when you're a believer, all this other stuff needs to just go away. Our focus should be on what God tells us in the scriptures, what God has given to us, what He has expressed to us through His Word, right? And so when we do that, when we infuse ourselves with what the scriptures say, when we're reading the Bible, God's Holy Spirit indwelling us, we will reach out and be little Christ in this world that is dying and lost and going to hell without knowing unless they have an interaction with Jesus. And if we don't speak, if we don't reach out, if we don't serve others, they're going to hell. And so we have to get off of this political realm, off of this race realm, off of this UK versus U of L realm. We have to get to the point where we understand that anything that's not of what God is telling us is of the devil. And it comes down to that. And so when you realize that the devil is trying to turn us all the time against one another, trying to cause us to find anything to get us upset, and our attention ability to listen to someone else talk these days is so short. I find myself, if someone comes up on the television, I'm just click, I ain't listening to that. Click, I'm not listening. I know you the same way. You hear Biden over. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
I can't do it, man. Click.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's part of critical race theory. You turn off whatever it is you don't want to hear, and so you don't ever actually hear the point of view of the other person. You're gonna silence that. You're gonna erase that post and you're going to throw it away. Why? Because we don't allow them to hear the other view. We're in an echo chamber on this social media. We hear what our friends they all like us say. We don't hear the ones on the other side saying something different. Not that they're right, but we just keep getting more and more agitated. Every once in a while, they'll send a salvo over from one side to the other, to get us upset, to get us mad. It's all programming. If you open your eyes up to it, television shows. I mean, who wants to watch TV anymore? I can't really watch regular TV. We watch a couple of movies, and it's just like they're trying to program us. They're trying to program us. They're trying to program us. I'm just like, I know. It's just like when you know the Bible, you see right through it. It's like, this is an attempt, and I'll stop the movie and I'll say to the kids, okay, you see what's going on here? This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to program you to think this. They're trying to blame you for being this way. You're trying to blame you for being that way. They're all trying to manipulate you all the time. So I'll end up watching YouTube. Not that YouTube's any better, but most of the time it's people talking about, I'm watching like ham radio stuff, or I'm watching like gun review stuff, or I'm watching like people living their lives, doing things that are cool. So, that's what I gotta say. We're getting way out there.
Well, one last thought before you go.
Yeah, you're free to say what you want to.
So, one of the biggest things in the news this past week and a half, is the British family. What's her name? Meghan Markle. I don't even know what her name is, but she's claiming racism from the British royals. Blah blah blah. Whatever. One, I think we quit caring what the British royals do back in 1776. I don't care what you do. Rock on. I don't care. But you got millions and millions of dollars that you're living that life, but you're oppressed because whatever. Being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, who's got billions and billions of dollars. And they're talking about, oh, it's so sad how you were treated. Whatever.
It's
I
all
hate to say it that way, but
yeah.
who cares?
All right. But as believers, we have to leave that stuff behind. I was a little bit depressed this week. Actually, this morning, I was looking to see what the hot topics were. I looked at Google and seeing what was trending and stuff. And the number one thing was how many Grammys has what's that country singer girl? I don't even know what her name is.
Carrie Underwood.
No, not her. Someone else. It was some country girl singer won a bunch of awards or something. So that was the number one searched item on Google all of last week. How many awards is? I don't even know where her name is. I don't even follow it. So, but some country singer girl, and then the other one was some Kim Kardashian. It was like, how many? Why did Kim Kardashian get divorced or split up from whoever her husband's name was? And I'm like, seriously? That's the most interesting thing to people that search on Google.
Mm-hmm.
Our country's lost. it's
Horribly.
It's like, who are these people? I don't know people that think about that kind of stuff. I mean,
No.
why would that be important enough to even Google? I mean, of course, I'm looking up, formulas for gunpowder and stuff. I mean,
We're trying to get the best deal on ammo.
I've got the 0.000000001% search pattern. I'm not in the mainstream anyway. All right, we need to think of a couple more sponsors and then head on over to the Armed Citizen of the Week. Let's see, where are we at here? So we already talked about Primary Arms. So if you guys want to check out more about Primary Arms, go to frn.deals, DEALS/PA. That will help out FRN channel, and it will help out Freedom Primary Arms. Also, if you want to help us out and sponsor us, you can go to Subscribestar. It's God and Guns is our channel. God and Guns all together spelled out, and you can do that. And then you got a couple more here at the end.
Yep. One, PowerTac lights. If you're looking for a bright light for an AR, a pistol, for a headlight for hunting, or just a light to carry in your pocket for everyday use when you get under the house or whatever, PowerTac has a light for you. They got some great stuff, lifetime warranty. And if you listen to the show and use the promo code God and Guns, they'll give you 40% off just for listening to the show. So go check our buddies out at powertac.com. Also, Crossbreed holsters. Hey, you've heard Troy and I talk about it. We both carry in a Crossbreed. Here is one of my Crossbreeds right here that I have out here on the table with me. And we both carry in Super Tuck Deluxe, the most comfortable holster you're probably ever going to put on. So go check our buddies out. If you got a gun, they probably got a holster for you. So check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. Carry the cross and use that promo code GNG. Get 10% off on us. Also, Axelson Tactical. If you're looking for a tack driving rifle, you've seen Troy's rifle, you've seen my rifle that we have through those guys. They are just superb weapons, high-end weapons. And if you're looking for a rifle, a bolt gun for long-range shooting, a custom pistol, Axelson has it. They make them. So go check our buddies out at axelsonusa.com. Use promo code God and Guns, and they'll also give you 10% off if you place an order.
Cool.
And last but not least, we have Palmetto State Armory. If you're looking for pieces, parts for this or that, or you're building a gun, whatever you're doing, go check our buddies out at Palmetto State. Follow our affiliate link. They don't give you a promo code, but what you do buy, we get a little portion of that back, and it just goes back into the show to help us keep bringing content every week. So go check them out at PalmettoStateArmory.com.
Good deal. Armed Citizen of the Week. What we got going on today?
Armed Citizen this week comes to us from Illinois, up around Chicago. Imagine that. Somebody got shot up there. A 69-year-old man in Beverly, Illinois, defended himself with a licensed concealed carry handgun when a group of teenagers attempted to rob him on March 9th, 2021. The incident happened around 10:35 p.m. that evening when a group of three teens in a stolen car stopped, exited the vehicle, and approached the man. The youths, dude, every time I see that, I think of freaking my cousin Benny.
I know, that's what I was thinking of.
The youths.
Youth.
The three youths. The youths threatened the man and demanded him to hand over his belongings. Instead of complying with their demands, the man instead drew his concealed carry gun and fired at the would-be robbers. One of the young robbers was struck in the knee, with all three running back to their stolen car and fleeing. The youths only made it a short distance before they crashed the stolen car down the road. All three attempted to flee the crash, but were caught by Chicago police a short time later. That comes to us from the ChicagoTribune.com.
Wow. A 69-year-old man had a concealed carry gun. I hope he had a permit because he'll be the one going to jail.
Oh, it said licensed concealed carry handgun.
Well, good on him.
Yep. So he had it in Chicago. That's a pretty good feat to be able to have one concealed and ready to go.
Paul said it's spelled Utes. U-T-E-S.
The two Utes. The two what?
He was a great actor. I really liked him. I wish he had more shows in his older age. He died like right after that show was over with too.
Yeah, it wasn't long after.
He was the monster. He was the Eddie, not Eddie, but he was the dad. Whoever it was, Herman. He was
Herman Munster.
Yeah.
Yep. Most people watching us don't know who that was. Well, some of them might. Some of them might.
Yeah, I don't know the age group out here. I'd say most of them are probably our age.
Probably.
Except for them Utes. If you haven't watched My Cousin Vinny, get the TV version because I didn't realize how much cuss words that we turned it on with the kids the other night and they're like, oh my gosh. There was so much cussing in that thing. I don't. Paula, do you remember having as many cuss words in films we watched when we was kids? I don't remember that many cuss words in the films. We go back to watch something and there's like all these cuss words there. I don't remember that. Kelly says he's 39 and he knows. Ha.
Yeah. Paul said you spell youths, U-T-E-S, Utes.
Utes. The Utes. All right, we're gonna wrap this. No, she don't remember it either. All right, we'll wrap this. Paula's had some rough surgery here recently, and we've been praying for her. I hope that you're recovering well. I know any back surgery is not fun. Ken McCone over on YouTube is quoting the story. What's a Ute?
Mr. Gambini.
We hope you're getting better, Paula. We'll keep praying for you. And our friend Mike Giormetti, his wife is having surgery again coming up soon, so we need to remember her in y'all's prayers as well. She's had several surgeries, had a rough time trying to get over that, so we remember her as well.
Yep.
All right, she's back to work half days. Good deal, Paula. We're going to wrap this thing up. Send your feedback to Troy@GuidingGunsPodcast.com or
Doug@GuidingGunsPodcast.com.
Please tell your friends about us. Leave us an iTunes review and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/GuidingGunsPodcast. Subscribe and follow us on YouTube. Click the notification bell and all that stuff. You can search for us on Instagram too. We have Wimkin. I have a personal Wimkin and a Guiding Guns page. We have Rumble, Guiding Guns all together, spelled out. We have a MeWe account. We have Parler. Have a personal Parler as well. Our podcast and our website is Guiding Guns Podcast. I almost made it. GuidingGunsPodcast.com. So until next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
Hey, keep your guns close, but keep your Bible closer. Y'all have a good night.
Night, y'all. I can't find my buttons. It's the button.